Hi, I'm Kevin and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make a dehydrated Moroccan stew suitable for backcountry camping. Let's get started. You're going to need a couple of onions, 4 stalks of celery, some garlic, a sweet potato, a can of diced tomatoes, and a can of lentils and a can of chickpeas. You could certainly use dried chickpeas and lentils if you wish. Using the canned version is just a little bit quicker and easier. You're going to want some vegetable stock and some thawed frozen spinach, a handful of dried apricots, and you're going to want some ground cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and cumin. Let's prep these ingredients. That's the prep. Now let's assemble the stew. I'm going to reach for a large pot, turn on my stove, and add just a little bit of canola oil. You want to minimize the amount of oil that you use at this stage. I get asked this an awful lot because oil in a dehydrated meal can go rancid and it could spoil your meal. But I've had very good success by using minimal amounts of shelf-stable oil like canola oil or olive oil. Now we'll start by adding the onions, and then the celery, and I'll give that a stir until they soften a little bit. And once the onions and celery soften a little bit, I'll add a little bit of ground black pepper, and then the garlic, and then the rest of the spices. And I'm going to stir this around and let it cook a little bit just to bring out the flavor of all those spices. Next, the vegetable stock, and then the sweet potatoes. I'll stir this around and let it come up to temperature because those sweet potatoes need to cook a little bit. I'll cover the pot and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Once the sweet potatoes are tender, I'll remove the lid and I'll add the chickpeas and lentils, sorry about the steam, as well as the diced tomatoes and the spinach. No more cooking is required, I just need to stir this up really well. Now we're going to spread this stew onto the dehydrator trays. With this recipe, I was able to fill 5 dehydrator trays. And then I turn my dehydrator on to 135 Fahrenheit. And overnight, the dehydrator turned this wonderful Moroccan stew into a dehydrated version of itself. All that's left to do is scrape the food off of the trays. It comes off pretty easily. And I like to dump it into a bowl, makes it a little bit more manageable. That's looking really, really good. Nice and dry, not oily at all. And I've learned to mark my bags before I fill them. Now I haven't forgotten about those apricots. I'm going to put a few in the bottom of the bowl, and I'm going to weigh out a portion for myself, which is about 125 grams, in this case 130 grams. And I'm going to package that into a Ziploc bag, sealing the bag to try and keep as much air out as possible. So if you like this recipe, you might want to check out my book, Backcountry Eats. It's a great resource for making meals like this for your backcountry adventures. You can find Backcountry Eats on Amazon or on my website, backcountryeats.com. That's backcountry-eats.com. So here's my meal all ready to go on a trip. Let's rehydrate this and see what it tastes like. First, we're going to add the meal to a cooking pot, and then we'll give it a bit of a shake so that it's flat. It'll be easier to add the water. Then add just enough water to cover it. And because this is a stew, we're going to give it an extra splash of water. Then we'll bring the pot to a simmer. At this point, I'll likely take a look at the meal, check it out. And because this is a stew, I'm going to take the opportunity to add a little bit more water. I want this a little bit soupy. Bring it back to a simmer. And then I'm going to put it into a pot cozy and let it sit for about 15 minutes. That'll let all the vegetables rehydrate nicely. When it's done, I'll take a look at it again, give it a stir, make sure everything's fairly well rehydrated. And then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. That really helps the flavor. Give that a stir. Now I'm prone to eating this right out of the pot, but because this is a video, I think I'll be civilized and use a bowl. Well, here it is. Let's give this meal a try. That's really good. I really taste the vegetable broth. Really, really good. The sweet potatoes taste phenomenal. They're very, very tasty. And the chickpeas still have a bit of a texture to them, which is nice. Lentils are good. This is definitely a winner. It's coming with me on one of my next trips for sure. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe. As always, I'll see you in the next one.